Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series number 112 Voyager class Optimus Prime. This is Optimus as we will see him in that upcoming Transformers 1 movie. So let's go ahead and start as we always do with that packaging and get that out of the way. So you've got your typical Studio Series setup here. You've got Transformers 1, there's Optimus Prime, number 112, Transformers up the side. You've got him standing there all heroically on this side. On the back, you have your product shots. You've got big screen inspired Metropolis of Iacon, 25 steps. Down here, a hero fulfills his destiny, becoming the legendary Optimus Prime. Your backdrop is included. Down here, you have all your warnings, and you have your sad baby. The baby's sad because, at least at the time of this recording, Peter Cullen is not voicing Optimus Prime in this movie. And that doesn't just make the baby sad, it makes me sad as well. Over here you have Optimus Prime and just a close-up of him squinting at you like Dirty Harry. He's a Deluxe-Class. Up top you got Transformers 1. Down low you have all that information if you care to read it. So let's go ahead and get that box out of the way now and get into the meat of this thing. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box, and we'll start over here with your little warning sheet. And then you've got your instruction booklet over here, and then you're left with what you see here. So we're going to go right to left. We're going to start with this. So this is his antenna, whatever you want to call them. When he's in vehicle mode, they go on the front of the truck. I don't know if they're for ramming, like they're guns. You make them whatever you want them to be. It's your imagination. Go for it. In the bot mode, we are instructed to tuck them away in his back. They don't hold very securely there. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but there you go. So, yeah, there it is. Moving on to the next thing, we're going to talk about his Energon axe. So it is translucent blue. Not a great amount of detail here, but hey, it's an axe. So yeah, looks all right. You've got a hole right here where you can use blast effects, whatever you want to do. And then, of course, he holds on to it. And then this goes over his hand right there. But yeah. And then this is our last thing to talk about here. Before I get to this, I just do want to mention that technically speaking, in the box, his smokestacks come separate, but I think that's more of a packaging issue, just to make it easier to package rather than considering them accessories. Because once you get them on, you leave them on. There's nothing else that you do with them. So I'm kind of disregarding those, but just technically speaking, they do come separate in the box. All right, so our last thing here is the matrix, or the half matrix, because of that. Yeah, they didn't put a lot of work into the backside. You get a little bit of, maybe some detail in there, but not a lot. But you're primarily going to see it from the side anyway. And there it is. You've got that silver and blue and gold, and kind of looks good in the middle. And you can see that it does a good job with the light right there. And then Optimus can hold this. We'll show that off here a little later in the review. But yeah, there you go. Tucks away nicely in his chest. Once you put it in there, not the easiest thing in the world to remove. So just something to keep in mind. But there you go. That is everything that came inside the box with Optimus. Let's go ahead and bring Prime in for his close-up now. Take a look at those details. And starting up top, there you have, it is an Optimus Prime variant head. It's definitely a head. It looks like Optimus Prime. It's not my favorite, but to each their own. Coming on down to the chest, you've got that translucent blue right there. If we open this up, right there's where you put that matrix, so you can see a little bit of detail in there as well. So, it's what it is. And coming on down, you've got some abs, and then you've got this thing right here that gets really annoying because I always want to hold him like this, and when I do, these friction pins pop off. So, yeah, not my favorite. I mean, it looks all right. Could have used a little more paint, but it looks okay, but I find it annoying. Coming on down to the legs. So he's got nice, big, beefy lower legs. And then just a few hollow spots. If you look in there, just a little bit of a hollow spot. But this is all covered up nicely right here. Good amount of detail. Definitely traditional hints of Optimus Prime all over the place here. Nice light up toes, as we would expect from an Optimus. And then, before you lift your arm up, let's take a look at you from the side so everybody can see. Not much of a backpack. He's just got a little bit of one here, which is really the top of the cab. Not awful by any means. And then looking at those feet from there, so you can see pretty decent sized feet. Not much of a heel spur. Does kind of limit your posing a little bit. And then those calves. Nice molded detail in the calves. And then he is solid all the way through. Again, kind of going back to things I'm not the biggest fan of, you've got this gap right here. You can kind of see through him right there. I don't know. I would like for him to be a little more solid, but this is just me being picky now. But yeah, there it is. All right, and from the top, and then you can see as far as the arms go, you've got those smokestacks. You got the wheels right there. A little bit of sculpt work in those arms. And if we lift these up, you can look underneath. You've got a few hollow areas. Nothing really bad, though. And then big blue hands. And from the back, nothing glaring here. This is really a good thing for him. He looks pretty good from the back. You know, you don't have a lot of degradation of the integrity of the robot form from the back. So he looks pretty good here, other than just having this backpack on. But hey, big square backpack. I'm not going to complain too much about it. A couple of minor hollow areas right here, but overall, pretty darn good. So overall, look at this guy. I like the way he looks. I'm just annoyed at certain things, but it's mostly from a functionality standpoint, not from a look standpoint. But yeah, overall looks, he's not too bad. When it comes to the articulation of this guy, I do find myself getting a little frustrated. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Starting with the head, good range of motion in the head. I mean, you can go way up and then down about that far, and a little bit of head tilt and all the way around. So good amount there for the head. He can look just about anywhere he needs to. Shoulders, you can come straight up on the shoulder like that, which is cool. One thing I do like is he does have a bit of a butterfly joint right there, so you can move him that far. Get the arms out of the way, you can move him a little farther, and just do something really awkward like that if you want to. Yeah, nice to have that butterfly joint there. If you need it, you can also do one of these. I find myself doing this a lot, not intentionally, but just as I'm handling him. They just don't secure in, so you give them a little bit of a pull and that pops out. But hey, if you can use it for articulation, take advantage of it. At the elbows, you get 90 degrees, and then you get bicep rotation, and then you get wrist rotation right there, so you can go all the way around. Coming down to the waist, being mindful of the backpack, you do get some high waist rotation, so you can see where he's turning right there is kind of that high waist area right there. So you do get a little bit of that you can use. If you have this thing in his backpack, it will get in the way. Just a quick demonstration of that. So tuck this away under here. Plug these in as directed. I say plug these in as directed. It would help if I actually did it the proper way. There we go. So this doesn't hold very securely. Just kind of holds like that. But then once you put those right there and you try turning that waist, you're going to find this wanting to hit, and then that backpack's wanting to pop up. So just something to be aware of. All right, and then there you go. Did you hear that? You hear that little popping? It's because I knocked this off of its friction pin again, just handling him. Patience. All right, so waist rotation. Coming down to this thing. There it is. And as far as the splits go, he's on ball joints. You're going to get about that far before you start threatening to pop those out of socket. So just be careful there. So good enough split that you can get some things accomplished. Forward kick that far. Back kick that far before he starts running into his backpack. But you get a little bit more if you need it, but that's about as far as you're going to go before he really starts running into himself. You do have some points of rotation at these hips just because of the ball joint design, which seems like a really bad idea, but it's neither here nor there right now. Right above the knees, you do have some knee rotation that you can take advantage of as well. So a couple of the hip rotate. Look at that. Just touching him, this thing pops off. Get out of here. He might also look a little better like that. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so you can couple the hip rotation with that knee rotation. So, and then just over 90 as far as that knee goes. Coming down here to the feet, the only thing you get are, you can go that far in with the toe, that far out with the toe, and then some ankle tilt. So there it is in its natural position, and then ankle tiltage right there. So the articulation is a little frustrating because I just simply can't get away with doing some of the things that I want to do. For instance, if you just wanted him to hold his arm out because of the design of this arm and be shooting, which he doesn't even have a gun, but if you wanted him to do something like that, this doesn't rotate the way it naturally should. So you're rotating here, then it looks a little unnatural, and then you've got that in the way, and you could do this. But I don't know. I just find myself kind of frustrated with the articulation on this guy, and incredibly frustrated with his goofy crotch belt cover thing. Let's go ahead and talk about accessories now, and we will start right here with this thing we saw a little bit ago. What you do with this in bot mode, you tuck it away in his backpack, and then it promptly falls off when you're playing with him. So let's go ahead and just move on to our next accessory, which is your Energon Axe. So not the most exciting thing in the world, not a lot you're going to do here. You're going to plug it into his hand as such, and then he's going to chop things. And there you go. Would have been nice to have had an ion rifle, but what we have is what we have. So that's really all you're going to do with this guy. You do have weapon storage. You've got slots back here. You've got tabs if you want to plug them in, and then he can carry his axe around. But that pretty much covers all you're going to do with that. No reason to celebrate it any further. And it brings us to our last accessory here, which is your Matrix of Leadership. So a couple things you can do with the Matrix. Of course, you can plug it into his chest, which we'll see, but you can also have him holding it. Essentially, sorry for the camera shake. Essentially, he's got his hands like this, and he's got the Matrix in between, doing the whole lighting the darkest hour kind of thing. Just going to do a quick edit here because there's no sense you in wasting the time on the video watching me try to plug these tiny tabs into these tiny slots in his hands and then getting all that arranged. Just going to do a quick edit, and like magic, we will have him where he needs to be. Boom, and just like that, there he is lighting our darkest hour so he can hold the Matrix. Now, let's go ahead and take that Matrix from him. Give me that. Get out of here. And then just show you what you can do here. You're going to lift the chest up. You're going to grab that Matrix. It doesn't matter. Top, bottom, same thing either way. And then you're just going to line it up, give it a push, plug it in. It does fit very securely in there. So, good luck getting that back out. It's not going to fall on its own. You're just going to bend a nail back to get it. And then you do have the ability to see it a little bit through that translucent blue window right there. So, looks pretty good. And that's going to cover it for the accessories. So, let's go ahead and get into the transformation on this guy and get him into his Cybertronian truck mode. So, in order to get Prime into his vehicle mode, the first thing you're going to want to do is take off his head. Turn his head around. So, you're going to take that head, turn it around, and then you're going to drop it just like that. Then you're going to push that tire assembly down into that cavity so it's tucked away like that. Then you're going to take these arms right here. You're going to move them forward on that butterfly joint. It's going to give you room for your next step, which is this backpack. You're going to bring the backpack up like that. You're going to rotate that backpack around and then just let it sit like that. So that way you move those arms forward so you've got enough room for that. So you can move them back now if you wish. And the next thing that you're going to do is just grab right here and pull him apart. Lift him up just like that. While you're here, go ahead and at this point of rotation, you're going to rotate that waist. And you'll see as you do this that this thing's going to get in your way. I'm doing my best to try not to mess with it, but it does get in my way. But anyway, move that waist 180 degrees, and then it'll all line up right there. You should have all these lined up. Get close, you'll be fine. And once you've done that, now we're going to take these arms and we're going to pry them apart. So from this view, you're essentially just going to give them a pull, and you're going to open them up like that so you can see the insides there. Once you've done that, now you're going to take this piece right here, just grab that, and yeah, your arms are going to get in the way a little bit, but you just need to reach in there and pull that out, and then bring that down, and then that's going to form the front of your truck. Once you have it like this, now you'll notice the reason that we pulled those arms apart is you have up in there, you've got a little tab. It's going to correspond to this slot right here. So as you bring this up, you're going to bring it up on that point of rotation. You're going to bring that up, get that arm out of your way. And then that's going to sit right in that slot, just like that. Same thing over here. So lift that up, and that's going to just fill in that cavity right there. Now you're going to take these arms. These arms right here are going to rotate down, and then you've got a tab and a slot right there. You're just going to align those and plug them in like that. So do the same thing over here. Plug those in, and then give these arms right here a good squeeze. Make sure they're in all the way. And you should have something that looks like that. So now we're going to need to start working on the bottom. I'm going to tell you before I move any further, this is not a difficult transformation, but it is a very frustrating transformation because you have these hip joints down here and these knee joints that are all working against you as far as getting everything aligned. So when you do this, it's just going to take a lot of squeezing, I guess, for lack of a better term. So for these legs, first thing you're going to do is just push these toes down, easy peasy. And then right in here, you're going to take these pieces and rotate them around. So you'll see that they're on a hinge right there. You're just going to rotate those around so they go to the outside of the leg. Do the same thing over here, rotate that around so it's on the outside of the leg. And you should have something that looks approximately like that. If it hasn't already moved naturally for you, you can bring this down and then take this piece up, and hopefully it stays out of your way. So what you've done essentially is you've created the front of the truck. So you're just going to take this cab, and you can see these are those faux lights. You're going to take that cab and bring that cab down. I just put my thumb right here and right there, and I give that a squeeze that cab all together, and then make sure I've got my arms squeezed in there. Now these may fall apart on you as you, I say fall apart, they may not stay seated as you do this transformation, simply because you're going to have to finesse these legs a little bit to get them where you need them to be. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to bring these legs up like this, and you can see you're starting to form that. But in order to do it correctly, I'm going to hold on to this and hope nothing falls apart. You need to put a little bit of a bend in the knee. So I'm going to move this arm so I can show you what I'm doing. You're going to need to bring this hip area up and the knee area down. So you're going to essentially do something like that. All right. And then you've got these tabs here that are going to align to the arms in those slots right there. So when I bring this back down, I'm going to push that in right there, and then hope that my leg is aligned, which it is not from a hip standpoint. Twist my hip. So what I was doing down here was twisting this hip in order to get this tab in the right spot, and then get that arm back where it belongs. Come on. So like I say, not difficult, just incredibly frustrating to get all this lined up. So then once you get that lined up, you've got your arm tucked in there, that tab in the slot, and then a tab in a slot right up here. And then this point of rotation for the knee right here, you can just kind of line that up. I would not recommend pushing this fist all the way in here because it's not the easiest thing in the world to get back out. Trust me, I found out the hard way. So we'll do the same thing over here. We're just going to bring that leg up and give it a bend approximately like that. I'm making sure, so I've popped out a little bit there, so I need to be mindful of that. And then I'm going to try to fit that arm into place while keeping that into place. And I may have to do some hip rotation on this side as well. So give that a squeeze and rotate my hip in the right position and get that about where I needed it to be. Hopefully it stays. And then get this guy and just give him a little tuck right there. Now, you'll notice I did not tab these together yet, and there's a reason for that. It's because we're going to take this axe right here, and we need to plug this axe into this entire assembly. So bear with me for a second. I have to sneeze. Ooh, all right, that was fun. All right, so you're going to tuck the axe away in here in this area. So it's kind of hard to see, but right up in there, you've got a slot on either side. It'll correspond to these tabs on either side of the axe. So just get that axe, kind of that blade up underneath, and then find that slot right there, slide that in, and then do the same thing on the other side. And then this is where you're just going to line that up and then kind of give that a hold. Make sure you get your tab in the right spot there. Squeeze all that together. Give him a squeeze. Make sure that you've got everything as it should be. You can see he's a little cattywampus there. He's a little crooked. So it is just a matter of getting everything nice and squeezed together now. So there we go. We've got a little bit of a twist in him, but we've got him there. Squeeze those. So this guy is a squeezy nightmare. But there you have Optimus, believe it or not, in his vehicle mode. So now that we have him in his vehicle mode, let's just give him a little bit of time here to go around a couple times for an unobstructed view without my hands in the way. You can see once you get him there, he is certainly a Cybertronian truck of some kind that's mildly reminiscent of Optimus Prime as we know him. Not my favorite alt mode for Optimus Prime in a Cybertronian form ever, but I guess it gets the job done. It is a deluxe class, so I can't get too worked up about that for the price point. But I definitely like him in the bot mode better than in the vehicle mode. But this is what it is. One thing that I will note as he comes back around, one thing that I didn't show in the transformation, it really is just parts forming, is this piece right here that typically you would have tucked away underneath this cab in the bot mode. This just press fits in. So you've got two slots, you've got two tabs, you push it in, and there you have it. So it definitely adds to the look. You know, he looks better with it than without it. And then, of course, that axe in the middle is what it is. So there you go, a couple of times around. I'm going to get that turntable out of the way, then I'll bring him in. We'll take a look at those details. We will start as we always do with the front of the vehicle. So there you can see he has those guns, rams, horns, whatever you want to call them, sticking out right there. I do like the silver that's right here. I think that is nice, the paint on that, and a little bit of yellow. And then seeing the matrix through there like we did in bot mode looks pretty good. Coming around to the side, there he is from that side view. I guess he looks like what he's supposed to look like. I would have liked to have seen some more paint right here. Not that big of a deal, I guess, but just would have been nice to have had something. And then coming around here to the back, you've got tail lights. Oops, you got painted yellow tail lights right there. And then basically just legs. Coming around to this side, it looks just like the other side. It's awfully suspicious. And from the top, there he is. And from the bottom, there he is. So not a lot you can do with him in this mode. He does roll, so that's a good thing. And you could maybe throw some blast effects on. You're not going to throw them there. You could probably throw them on there. They're kind of you can't even see it. I'm sitting here talking to myself. But yeah, you could probably throw a blast effect on. They're kind of droopy, but I mean, I guess it gets the job done if you want to do something like that. But other than that, not much you're going to do with him in this alt mode. He just rolls away, rolls away. So yeah, there you go. So now that we've got him there, we took a look at his details. Let's go ahead and bring in some comparisons and see how he stacks up against some other figures out there. For our first alt mode comparison, I figured I would bring in the Transformers Generations Orion Pax because hey, we get to see Optimus in a movie before he was Optimus as Orion Pax. So yeah, why not? For our next comparison, I figured I would bring in another figure that doesn't get a lot of love or attention. This is Optimus Prime in his proto form as he was crashing to Earth in that 2007 Michael Bay movie. And for our final alt mode comparison, this is the Transformers War for Cybertron, Cybertronian mode, Optimus Prime in the cel-shaded paint job. That's going to do it for the alt mode comparisons. So let's get Optimus transformed back into his bot mode, and we'll do some comparisons there. Thankfully, Prime is a lot easier to get back into his bot mode than he is to get into his alt mode. There's just a lot less finessing you have to do. So you will note before we start that I did go ahead and take this piece off just because it's a huge pain in the butt. I mean, these pieces right here, they go way deep in and they are a little bit of a pain to get out. So I figured I'd save some time. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Really what you're going to do is you're just going to start prying on this guy. So if you went by my recommendation earlier and did not tuck these hands in, you're already going to be a step ahead because these are not fun to try to get back out. So really all you're going to need to do at this point is just start prying on those arms. Give those arms a pull, kind of separate that out, and it allows you to bring those apart right there. I'm just going to go ahead and swing those arms out of my way so you can see what I'm doing next. So I'm going to take these legs, I'm going to give them a split. When I do, the axe can fall right out, and he's gone. So now right here at the hips, hopefully without popping this off, I'm going to bring those legs down and just straighten those legs out like that. And do the same thing over here. Bring those down, straighten them out, pop the feet out, and then I'm going to swing these pieces around to the insides of the legs, and that way I can stand him up if I choose to do so. Once you have him here, you're, I don't know, halfway there. I don't know why I need to provide a percentage. But once you have him here, go ahead and lift this up right here. So you're just going to bring that up like that, and then you're going to expose all this right here. After you've got him lifted here, take this cab piece and give that a pull, because it's going to let you loosen everything else up that you need to. But once you have him here, before we go any further, let's go ahead and rotate him around so you can see how these are lined. Just going to grab him somewhere that's safe-ish and bring him around 180 degrees. Drop that little cod piece down. Now that you've got this pulled down, this is going to allow you to pull these arms out. So you're just going to lift those arms up like that and then bring them down. So just lift them up, bring them down, and then you're going to collapse this piece. As you collapse this piece, you might have to move these arms a little bit because these tabs are probably going to get in your way. So do that, lift those arms up just a little bit, and there you go. Now what we can do is bring this entire assembly down right there, and then once we're at this position, I'm just going to move these arms forward just like that. That's going to give me the clearance that I need to rotate this cab piece 180 degrees and bring that down. While I'm here, I'm just going to grab this tab right here with my thumbnail, and I'm going to give that a push, and I'm going to bring that head up, bring it up like that, and then spin it around. And now the last thing that I need to do is collapse these arms up. So just kind of a double hinge action. You're just going to bring them out on that butterfly joint and then collapse them in like that. So bring them out and then collapse them in. And then you have Optimus back in his bot mode. For our first bot mode comparison, here we see that Transformers 1 Optimus Prime on the left, and on the right is the Transformers Generations Orion Pax. Moving on to our next comparison, this is Optimus Prime as we saw him in his protoform from that 2007 Transformers live-action movie. And for our final bot mode comparison, here we see the Transformers A War for Cybertron Optimus Prime in his Cybertronian truck mode with that anime cell shading style. That does it for the bot mode comparison, so let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts. So there you have the Transformers 1 Studios Series Deluxe-Class Optimus Prime, and I have to tell you I'm not the biggest fan of this figure. I think he has more frustrations than he has joy for me. But let's go ahead and jump into it. I'll try to be quick. I've got a lot to say. I'm going to get through it quickly. Let's start with the first overall bullet here, which is the overall looks, the aesthetic that he brings. Bot mode looks pretty good. I will give him that. I think he looks good sitting on the shelf. He could have used a little bit more paint in a few areas, but for Deluxe Class, I'm going to give him credit where it's due. He's got a good look to him. I like the thing, in particular, I like the ability to see the matrix through his chest plate. I think that's a good look as well. Alt mode is okay. I don't know exactly how accurate it is to what we're going to see in the movie, but it looks fine. It's certainly not my favorite between the two modes. Bot mode is going to take the win there, but alt mode is there. I guess it gets the job done. Overall, I just find this figure not particularly exciting as far as the overall look goes. Bot mode is good. Alt mode, meh. But in comparison to other Optimus Prime figures in the past, I just don't think, I don't know. He just doesn't stack up. Something about him. But I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 because that bot mode is definitely a saving grace. Moving on to the articulation, I will tell you right off the bat, I'm not a fan of those arms. I'm not a fan of the way that the shoulders work. Just the way that yes, you've got a little bit of a butterfly joint there, but just the way that you have to navigate those arms to try to get him in some poses, it's really frustrating, really difficult to get him where I wanted him to be. He looks awkward in almost every position unless you've just got him standing straight up and down. He does have a waist rotation, but it's a high waist rotation. It's almost a chest rotation, but it is worth noting that you do get that. So Deluxe Class figure comes with that waist rotation. That's good. The legs are done pretty well. I mean, you get a lot of range of motion in those legs, the hips, and you've got knee rotation, and you've got, front kick, back kick, splits. All of that would get you where you want him to be, if only for those feet. He has the ability to, of course, have the ankle tilt, and then you can move those toes down a little bit, but you're not going to get any of this front and back with the feet, so that's going to hinder him as well. So you're going to run into some issues there. Overall, I think the articulation was not done poorly, but man, I'm really frustrated to those shoulders. So I'm going to kind of give him a 7 out of 10 on articulation. I'm going to move on from this subject. Let's go ahead and talk about the accessories now. The accessories are a bit of a letdown for me. Again, keeping in mind that this is a deluxe class figure, I know that there are just certain things that they're not going to be able to do, but I do very much miss, and I don't know if it's going to be in the movie or not. This review was recorded before the movie was released. I don't know if Optimus Prime is going to have his ion rifle in the movie, but I sure do miss it here. It just feels weird having an Optimus Prime and not having that ion rifle. The axe is goodish, I suppose, but it doesn't get me all that excited. I would have preferred to have had that rifle. You get half a Matrix, the one you can see through his chest. You can take it out. He can hold it in his hands. Just don't look at the backside of it because it's not finished. And then these things back here, these little horns or the antenna or whatever you want to call them, this is how you store them in the bot mode. And, you know, I'm surprised they're not falling off just by me talking about them. There's just not a lot of friction there to hold them on. Additionally, when you have him in his alt mode, it takes a tremendous amount of friction to get those put in and to remove them. So not enough friction here, too much friction in the other mode. I find that frustrating. This piece will fall off. Somebody somewhere is going to lose this piece, but just simply because this little backpack area is not going to hold it. Storage for the accessories, or accessory in this case I'm talking about the axe, is not great. You've got tabs, you've got slots on his back. They're difficult to line up. They don't store deeply, so it's going to be easy to knock those off too. It's just not elegant. Not the biggest fan. Vehicle mode, the storage is fine. The axe becomes part of his vehicle mode. I'm just not impressed. I'm kind of let down by the accessories, so I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 on the accessories. Moving on to quality, I'm going to divide this up into two things. Let's talk about the quality first. The actual quality of the figure. Joints are tight. He transforms like he's supposed to. Paint applications are done the way they're supposed to. He came with everything that he was supposed to. And he has no molding defects, if you will. Everything, all the built-in sculpt work is there, and there's no flow lines, anything like that. So all of that is good. I'm going to tell you that from a quality standpoint, he's a 9 out of 10. I really think about the biggest thing was the pin on this right arm is a little loose. Now, splitting that, quality is 9 out of 10. I don't have a bullet for this, but I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to talk real briefly about how much I hate the design of this figure. I hate this codpiece. I know it's a strong word to use, but I do. I hate it. With all capital letters, I hate that codpiece. It's held on with those two little friction pins, and if I had $1 for every single time handling this guy that I knocked that codpiece off or popped it off of those friction pins, because that's where you got to put your hands to do everything. If I had $1 every time, I could maybe buy 2 of these again. So not a fan of that design, not a fan of that codpiece, not a fan of transforming him either. Just the way you have to get this guy folded and try to get tabs put in, and that transformation that I have in the video kind of highlights it. You know, there's nothing that truly locks him down, and you can still have him cattywampus even in vehicle mode, and it's constant fiddling, and I'm just not a fan of it. I don't like the transformation. I don't like the codpiece. I don't like the way that these antennae are held on. I don't like the design of the shoulders. Quality's good. Design, not good. Just so we're clear. Moving on to value. I don't know. I don't think the value is here for this figure. Like I said at the beginning of this final thoughts, I think that there's more to dislike and more frustration here than joy that I get out of the figure. This is a deluxe class figure. I picked him up at a local Target for $25 US, which is the MSRP for deluxe class figures. That's all well and good. I don't have an issue with the price point per se. What I have an issue with is I don't think this design is worthy of that price point. I think there were better ways that they could have gone about this guy. I think there would have been easier transformation, more joy, more fun, more flow, more intuitiveness, whatever you want to call it. He's just not great. I get frustrated by him, so I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I don't think this design is worth the price point. So that's a 7 out of 10 on the overall value. Brings us to our grand total out of a possible 50 points. This Optimus Prime, I'm going to give him 38 out of 50. That's 76%. I'm not going to recommend this figure. I'm not telling you that he's a hard no either. I'm telling you, you need to make this decision, because I can't be held responsible for somebody picking this guy up and then finding out that they dislike him. So do what you want to do. It's out of my hands. If I could go back in time and maybe not pick this figure up, I may not have spent the money on him. I don't know. But at least I'm bringing you this review, so I'm trying to look at the silver lining. So with that, that's going to wrap the review up. I hope you guys got some good information out of this. I hope I didn't sound too harsh about this guy. He's just a little bit of a letdown. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment if you feel like it, and if you know somebody that would enjoy what we do here, our content, please feel free to share this video, feel free to share the channel. It's always fun to watch the community grow. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. Until I see you in the next review, take care.